Just another day TV.
It's a crazy world, so how do you keep that positive energy? Yo, right in the middle. Welcome to Right in the Middle, where we talk about nothing, something, and everything. We are here, people. What up? No more podcasts in your heart.
What up? Welcome to Right in the Middle, where we talk about nothing, something, and everything. And this is another Into the Music segment. And you know, number one podcast in your hearts. Open it up and let us in. We have another up and coming great artist, great maestro in his mind and know how to display his art into music. Brother, introduce yourself for me.
What's up, everybody? I'm Lando Strand out of Cleveland. More specifically, Garfield Heights.
Got you. Yo, so Lando, I really appreciate you coming on, bro. It's a privilege to have you on. I appreciate you taking the time. It's an honor to have you on the show. And this is Into the Music. And, you know, it's his first time. So, you know, we don't get into the music yet. We just got to break down the mind of the artist and see where the music artistry is coming from, the background and everything. Did he shut up anybody in the club? Did he smack a nigga somewhere? You feel me? Gotta get into the music. So
we're talking backstory today. We're talking backstory.
Yeah, you feel me? Mm-hmm. So how old are you? And as you say, you're from Garfield. So just rephrase real quick. How old are you and where you from and what genre of music you do?
All right, so I am 25 years old. Garfield Heights for the moment, possibly moving out to Coventry soon. Genre of music, it's a little bit different. It's kind of like smoother, but it's definitely more like underground, you know, rap, hip hop, stuff like that. Yeah. A little bit experimental at times, like especially on the last tape I put out, gets a little bit different, you know. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to put like an overall genre on it.
Got you. So how many tapes or albums or EPs do you have out there right now?
So just solo stuff. I have one EP, just a little 6-track EP. For the last like 2 years though, I was making music with, it was like a psychedelic rap group is what you could probably call it. But it was like us three, me, Steve Remington, and a dude named Chauncey Cruz, us three. Shout outs to all of them, great people.
Shout out.
So we ended up like making 2 EPs together during that time. And now I'm just kind of like working on some solo stuff and getting into some different things for sure.
Got you. And we were speaking before this podcast, but we're going to let that snippet be what that snippet is. But if you guys follow the page, the Instagram, and the YouTube, you know what we're talking about. You can follow the conversation. But I forgot, Lando. Sorry. Let me give you your applause, bro, for being on the show. I thank you for being here once again. And, you know, we got to do that. I give it flowers. We got to, you know, snaps. Let's get it. Yeah. So, what you said 2 years ago, you started doing music?
All right. So originally started probably about 3 or 4 years ago. It was my freshman year of college, actually. So it put me back about 2016, actually. So call it about 5 years now.
Got you.
Yeah.
So, what 5 years? What? Okay. Hold on. Backstory. I'm gonna come back to this. But what did you go to college for?
Okay, so I was at Bowling Green State University. We went to BG.
You feel me, BG?
Hell yeah.
Orange and brown.
Yeah. Oh man, it's a crazy atmosphere out
there. Lit.
It's
I know, bro.
It's a little bit
lit.
I just wish there was just not so flat with the cornfields. If it was like normal city-esque, that'd be dope. But it was fun nonetheless. It was fun. So I went there for sport management, which was cool.
Ooh, yeah. So you graduated and everything with sports management?
I actually ran out of money / got arrested, got in trouble, that kind of thing. So I was literally
backstory,
exactly. So I
shoot. So this if you don't look, And I
2017.
never put someone in a corner. If you never want to share something because something is
Oh
ongoing
no,
or something,
I'm
you don't have to share.
listen, I'm pretty. No, I get you. I appreciate that too, but I'm pretty open about it, dude. I already got it. We're all expunged. I got nothing on my record nowadays, so we're all good.
Dope.
But
Love to hear that.
basically, I ended up getting arrested for like some, weed trafficking charges, hearsay, alleged, informational, things going on. But yeah, it was a learning experience. Absolutely a learning experience. So it was one of those things where got in trouble, ran out of money. Government aid wasn't really, they're not going to really
help you once you have the record.
Exactly, 100%. Yeah. So I just got that expunged. I'm literally, I'd say three classes and then an internship away, and then I'm good to go.
Oh shit, that's dope. So
yeah, so I'm actually just.
Are you planning on going back?
Yeah, I'm like gonna be going back in the spring, which is crazy, dude. I haven't been to school in about 3 years.
Oh, but you're still 25, so you still have the party in you, and you still look young, or you gonna look like a creep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nigga like me can't go back to school right now. I go back to school, they go be like, "Who this nigga? Who he trying to kidnap? What's going on
here?" Yeah, you see the dudes coming back at like 30. They got kids and shit. And you're like, damn.
Yeah, bro. Just do online classes, bro.
Right, exactly. I'm gonna be kicking it right where I'm at, just doing the online shit.
Facts. Especially with COVID, that helps a lot.
Oh, dude, exactly. That might help with the internship too, because like sports right now, like with COVID, they don't want extra people around that they don't need necessarily. You know what I mean?
What makes
I might just be like, yo, if I take a class, does that count? And then they might be like, yeah, and then that would be dope. So
facts. What make you pick sports management?
So I grew up playing sports kind of my whole life. So I grew up playing. I did like the basics, like from when I was really young. So it was like football, baseball, basketball. I ran track back in the day.
You gotta do something every season. Stay occupied. Stay out of the house. Come home, do homework. Go take a shower, eat dinner, go sleep.
Exactly, because it's just like school, practice, dinner, sleep,
and that's good structure though. No one really think about it. That structure helps you so much in the future, where your parents say, "Okay, you gotta come do something," and it helps you knowing what. After you get off work, you still have to do what you need to do, your hobby or whatever. You still got to work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It helps you.
Even just like around the house, like getting off work, coming home, it's like, hey, you can't just lay down and do nothing, bro. You got this, that, the other thing. And then
the day don't just end because you was on someone else's clock.
Exactly. And then
you got to make your own clock now.
Yeah. I've been like doing the, I guess treat it like a second job thing with music, because I haven't been making enough money to fully quit my job with music. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't treat it like a second job, then you're never going to quit your first job. You know what I mean?
And a lot of people don't think of stuff like that because they do stuff and be like, oh, it's a hobby. But you take your job and you don't know your boss or anything. You're not getting the full pay factor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Workers never really get the real money. The bosses does. You know what I mean?
Level,
so
like, without college, you can't get past that first level of,
Yeah. So you putting out like that energy at work and won't put it into you, whatever you find. If you find feeding stuff or anything you find passion in or just fun in, put that same energy and happiness into it to be successful. Like, that shit might pop and you might start making money and you don't have to work for anyone. You work for yourself and you can hire people and keep the money like in between people and grow as a community.
Exactly. And that's the shit that you got to chase, because if you're doing it just to do it, then you're never going to go anywhere with it. If you're doing it because you know that you have to do it, you know that you want to do it, you know that this is going to
make enemy, bro.
Exactly.
I like what we're talking about. Let me put some gunshots in the air. I like it. Right. So you got in trouble and stuff, sportsman.
Yeah.
Because you always play sports and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
But what made you? Let's go to younger. Growing up, what did you hear around the house? And what's your family dynamic like? Where are you from?
Okay, so originally,
where's your family lineage?
I was born in Mayfield Heights, so like still the east side, eastern side, I guess. But it was chill. We ended up moving to New Jersey for a little bit. Like my dad got a job out there and we moved back. While he was around, it was kind of like, dynamic stuff was different but like you could
What's
tell.
your ethnicity?
All right, so we are. I'm half Italian. My dad and my mom are both half Italian. So I got half from each of them.
Oh, you're 75 Italian.
Well, 50 and 50, so it was like 25 from each. So I ended up being 50% Italian.
Yeah.
And then I'm 50% Italian with I'm Slovenian and Albanian to like make up the rest of it.
God damn, bro, you Vulcan and Italian, bro.
Yeah.
You got all the spirits, bro.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So like I think it was like originally Yugoslavia as far as Slovenia goes, because it was like the weird,
all that Balkan
up.
countries, Serbia, Macedonia, Croatia,
right
all
sure.
So
okay. Yeah, so like back then, my dad was the one who kind of made the money, and like we were well off, but it wasn't like I never like knew how much money we ever actually had, because he was more so like.
Well, you lived in Brecksville.
Yeah, exactly. So we lived out. We were in Broadview, like right, going to Brecksville and shit. So like we had like a nice house growing up to a degree, and then that was like
just like me. You know,
it was dope as fuck.
We didn't know what our parents just try to put us in the best scenario and never try to show us. They shelter us.
Yeah, so that's how I was for a little bit. Except he was kind of like. We got what we needed. It was never like, hey, I want this, and then like we got it. You know what I'm saying? It was never like that. And then
you gotta wait till Christmas and holidays and birthday.
Exactly.
Same.
That was,
it
was like
that.
We lived comfortable. Like we lived cool as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
never complain about that. We had clothes. Yeah. We had house overhead. We could space for sports. To go play sports and shit. Like, sports in school was expensive as fuck.
Yeah, bro. Especially the pay to play shit.
Exactly.
Like,
and no one. Yeah.
So then, like, pretty soon, like, my dad ends up cheating on my mom, dips out, moves in with the woman he cheated on my mom with. She had 4 kids, moved her 4 kids into the house with him. And then pretty soon, my mom doesn't have a job. He, like, forced her to quit her job. He was, like, a very controlling individual. Like, even when I was growing up, like, bro, my first memory of my dad was literally, like, I was out of my room past my bedtime at like 3 years old, and he threw a lock on the outside of my door, locked me in my room. Shit like that, whereas you're like, there's not a light on.
Italian.
Like, it was just like little shit where you like,
different cultures. Yeah, different cultures and different times.
It's not a big deal until you look back on it as an older, more mature person. You're like, shit, I would never do that to my 3-year-old kid. What the fuck was he doing that to me?
And that's a different time.
Yeah, exactly.
I look at stuff like that with my dad as well. Like, he was raised different with a different time. That's his mindset. Raise it. My
dad
was you can't hold it personal against my parents. I'm still gonna love them. I'm still gonna give them a respect. But like,
because dude, even back then, like that's how it was. Like I just, I never thought anything about it. He was still my dad. My dad's my dad. Whatever. Well, later on when he dipped, I still wasn't like ready to cut him off or nothing. It was just one of those things where like my mom and my dad didn't work, whatever, right? It don't matter. So come to find out that like he's been keeping like hella money from my mom. Like, how I was saying, like he owned his own business. That dude is a biomedical engineer, so he was making like bread, bro, and he was throwing it in his father's accounts and like his mother's, like just like throwing shit into like offshore accounts, like all of this stuff to make sure that my mom, and then in turn all of us 4 kids, would just never really see a dime of it. So he didn't pay any child support for like a while. That's when things got like bad, but it wasn't like it was like like everything could have been worse, I guess is my point. You know what I mean? It was just one of those things where like, breakfast is coming from the food pantry downtown because my mom's going down to get cereal and shit, and it's just that's how it was. And you didn't complain even when we were like even when we had like a lot of stuff, I would never complain. But then when we had nothing, it was just like a bit of a culture shock. And all at the same time, like my brother told me the other day, he was like, dude, because he plays football up in New York right now. He plays in college and shit. And he was telling me, he's like, dude.
Oh, that's dope as fuck.
Yeah.
What's your brother's name? Shout him out real quick.
Luke. Yo, shout out to Luke really quick. That dude's
Luke Strand. Look out for Luke. Yo.
Yeah. So that
boy,
dude,
our nigga gonna go pro real quick.
Yeah, dude. He literally looks at me the one day and he's like, bro, I told my wide receivers coach about how you like pretty much raised me and shit. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I didn't even like know that that's what I was doing. It was just one of those things where I'm like looking out for my people. You know what I mean? I'm looking out for my little brother. I'm looking out for my little sister. Like, little shit like that where you just do what you got to do, and then that's how you kind of like come up through the works. So I kind of got like the best of both worlds. Like I definitely had things when I like needed things and I had nothing to complain about then, and then
most stuff,
everything kind of started to get taken away, and then like shit started crumbling. And this is all just like right when high school starts. I was probably 15, maybe 15 and a half years old when everything really hit the fan. So it was just one of those things where you're like, fuck, I'm 16 years old. I'm like looking down at my siblings. My mom's a substitute teacher. I think she was a substitute.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
How many siblings do you have?
So I got an older sister, and then I got...
I went to class with, right?
Yes, Samantha.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was cool. I have a younger brother, Luke, and then my younger sister, Brooke. So I have 3 siblings.
Oh, got you. And all right, let's get back to end the conversation. How did you, like, as a young person, for anyone that's like will ever go through this, because life change and shit happens. Like,
right,
as a young teenager and your parents separated, what was your mental? Did you feel like it was your fault, like you was blaming yourself, or like what was your mental at that time?
That's a good question. Okay, so to put myself back in that position, I think there was already enough like animosity between my parents where like, and I was old enough. I'm not gonna say I was old. I was probably like 14, maybe 13. But I was definitely old enough to see the animosity between them and just deduce from that, like, okay, that's a them
I don't mean
problem.
to cut you off real quick. So in the house, you already seen stuff happening where it was like making y'all feel some type of way as kids in the home. And
so there was never, I will say, like, the one thing my dad never did is he never put his hands on my mom. So there's never ever there was never any like physical abuse whatsoever. But this dude, I've like watched him tear an entire room apart, like just like throwing shit, like it's one of those things where like you walk in after and there's like holes in the wall, and like the next day he's the one plastering everything. You're like, oh wow, okay, wonder what the fuck happened in here. And then like again, it was one of those things where like it wouldn't really, like, my mom would never be the one to like come away with bruises or nothing like that. It wasn't like physical. It was just like he just would explode, or like he was just really, he was just an emotionally abusive dude to begin with. So like my mom would get, this much money for like the week, and if she went over, she wasn't like, she'd be like running out of gas and shit. Like this was like while my parents were married and shit. Like she'd be like running out of gas because, quote unquote, your father didn't give me any gas money or like enough money to sustain the week, shit like that. Where you're like, okay, well that's still, it's still a little questionable, but it's not like, hey, he didn't slap her across the face, So it's like a different dynamic where like he knew what he was allowed to do by law, and like apparently it was just, how can I torture this woman, without like the kids finding out how it ended up getting to.
So how did you keep your integrity and your structure about yourself, seeing that, and what is it like for you in relationships nowadays?
Well, so growing up, once I kind of like, I mean, I remember like even back when I was a little kid, like I was saying before, like those couple examples, like I remember like feeling a certain way about like my dad and being like, damn, I hope that's not like how normal like people would react to that, or like normal people would act in that situation. So then pretty soon, like it came down, I started to like really pick up on that, and then I would kind of like take that into different situations and be like, well, who could I like emulate this after? Like my one friend's dad, like I got one friend who like kind of took me in during that whole time. Like I'd be over his house for dinner every night, because we wouldn't like, not that we wouldn't have dinner, but like this dude was like 100% Italian. But
that's the community factor about Brecksville.
Yeah,
that's like, one thing I can say about Brecksville, Broadview, Brecksville, Broadview Heights. Whatever way you want to, there is a community factor. Once you're close with a friend thing, families don't have a problem with like just inviting you to this, and you know what I mean. And me being a foreign kid, I understood that to the most and the best. Like, and I appreciate everyone.
And you found a home in that too, probably.
Yeah,
that's the same way that I found a home.
And you keep those bonds to even this day.
Yeah, bro. Because dude, I would go I could go over to my friend's house right now, walk into his house, no warning. They'd be like, "Oh, what's up, Austin? How's it going?" Like it would be nothing, because that's like I found like a sanctuary away from my home. Like if my house was kind of sad, at the time, like whether it be not having food, not having something, not having this, that, whatever it is, or like my mom's in a bad mood, like I don't even want to piss her off any more than she already is. Like let's just go.
Yeah.
Guess where I'm going? I'm going to my dude's house, and like this dude would have a full on spread of a meal, and I'm like, oh shoot, like I can just come over whenever. He's like, yeah. Show up whenever you need to.
Trust
my mom's
me,
gonna tell
from
you
Jamaica, and my boy BS. Yo, my boy. Everyone know who BS is, but you know, Savvy Nugs. Everyone know that man. Yo, I feel like a brother to that man. I should be their third child for real.
For real.
You know what I mean? Like it's just a community factor. Like, and especially if you're doing stuff with everyone. Like it's like really community factor.
Right. And then on top of that, you can like find other people to like look up to, like my friend's dad, for instance.
Motivation.
Like, he treats his family with respect. He like makes dinner for them. Like my dad would sit on his ass, and like the kids would be forced to do the chores, obviously, and then my mom would like keep the house nice, other than just us doing like, you know, weekly stuff. But like that dude, I didn't see him pick up a broom, a fucking dustpan. I didn't see him. I've seen him cut the grass, bro, and that's pretty much it.
Just a little effort.
Yeah, so like it was one of those things where like if I grew up seeing that everywhere, then like I'm not gonna do shit when I get a house. But then what can I like? What does what's his face do? You know, what does Mr. What's his face do? That dude's doing like he's helping keep up the house just as much as everybody else, and everybody else has a job. So like, you know, it's one of those things where you're looking at other dudes and picking up little pieces from other people and shit.
Awesome. So all right, we're gonna take a quick break, and this is a song of the week, "Lucky Me" by Austin. By Lando. By Lando. Check it out. I got link in descriptions. We'll be right back. And people, we are back, and that is the song of the week, "Lucky Me" by Lando Strand. So I know your real last name. What is your music last name? I don't just want to
Strand.
it out.
So like my real
Lando
this
Strand.
is actually a good story. Might as well like speak on it because it's kind of funny.
Yeah, let's get in it.
So like my last name is Strand, Strnad, and there's not a single vowel until that A. So like when people look at it, they're like eyes adjust the A and the D, and they just read Strand because Strnad just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. So
then I just like changed the name to Strand because that's what everybody kind of sees when they look at that, and it's just way easier. So I just changed it to Lando Strand. And then Lando comes from my mom's maiden name. So my mom's maiden name is Landolph. So like, I just shortened that to Lando. So I just use like, you know, last name on one side, last name on the other. Lando Strand.
Yeah. Oh, got you. You see, we got a little more into the music, why the name came to be the name.
Mm-hmm.
But we I wouldn't say we drifted off, but we didn't drift off because the question I have to ask when we speak about more, we'll go back more into the music. So, Lucky Me, check it out on all platforms correctly.
Yeah, all platforms. It's everything except for YouTube right now. Everything except for YouTube, I believe. Amazon Music, you know, Spotify, Apple, Deezer, Tidal, all that stuff.
All right. And what's your Instagram?
Instagram is Lando Strand, no spaces. Same with Twitter, Lando Strand, no spaces.
Are you active on Twitter?
Active on Twitter. Active enough on IG. I'm a little bit more active on Twitter, yeah.
What do you be posting on Twitter, man? I don't understand Twitter. I be trying to post shit, but should I be posting like I feel like I'm going to cancel for?
Oh, my God. See, all I do on there is literally like, I'll be... Like I have followers, so it's not like I'm tweeting into the void, literally. But like, man, I just think of shit to say and don't know who to say it to, and then that sometimes it just goes to getting tweeted about, or I'll use it for promotion a lot, you know, just to promote music, to promote videos, all that kind of stuff. But it's more so like, yeah, the only thing is like I originally tweet out like original tweets. That shit's just like, okay, that's like a fried, you know, Lando thought that didn't know where to end up, and like nobody was around, so I'm like, I'm gonna tweet that, you know. I mean,
yeah, I definitely understand that one. Yeah. So we like you growing up in the, you know, I hate using mainstream words. I don't want to say situation or like
The old
back,
broken
but
home.
yeah, it's not even broken home because what makes a broken home really?
Exactly.
You
And
see what I'm
a
saying? Like
broken insinuates that there is a piece missing or broken.
miss it, but
Like
like
in
you
reality,
can
we
shake
formed our own little, family after
exactly,
he left, bro, and it was like all good from there. Everything was straight. We earned every
and
single thing that we
and at the end of
got.
the day, you still had the respect for your dad. Like
Yeah, I
just
still have
slight,
respect for
you
the
know,
man,
you
but I
can't go to
choose.
the man and be like, but you don't even bring certain things, you boundaries. You know, you put
Yeah,
person in certain compartments. You know what I mean?
yeah, I
And that's
have
what I do
seen
as
him
well.
like semi recently. I'd say within the last like 4 years, maybe like one time in the last like 6 years. I'd say maybe
Yeah,
twice. But like my aunt is the one. Like, so I would still see his family here and there because of my aunt. So like I would see him every now and then, like maybe like I said, probably twice in like 6 years, maybe 3 times, something like that. But
yeah,
like you said, dude, it's like a respect thing still. Like I still have respect for the man, like as is, but like it's kind of one of those things where like you didn't do as much for me as you think you did. So
yeah.
like I don't need to respect you, but I'm gonna show respect to
Show
like
you
the
respect.
younger siblings and like all of that thing too. Like one of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
deals.
That's very true. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this. How did how you was raised? What type of music were you listening to?
Okay, so
Especially when you're going through your moments or just like what type of music you listen to that that you have implement your music today.
originally I'd say that I was more so, I don't know why, but when I was really young, like under like between like 6, 8, something like that, I was listening
Yeah.
to a lot of like 80s rock, which I like actually kind of do not like nowadays. Like 80s like
So
hair
hold on
band shit. Like back in the
one
day, I
second.
would be
So
listening to
is
like,
that what? Yeah. Let me rephrase this question so we can go through these phases right. Because as I said, when I have the alcohol in my system, it's not a good procedure. I rather smoke and be on the podcast, but it's been a long
I
night. You
hear
know what I
that.
mean?
Oh yeah, I hear that.
But growing up, what music you hear in the house? Was there music playing in your home? What type of music was going on?
All right, so in the house, I'd say like my mom would only play shit like inside the house just to like play it on like the little radio thing that she had.
Yeah.
She listens to like, I don't even know, bro. Back in the day, it was like the mid 2000s, like soft rock shit, like
Yeah.
and like Sugar Ray and like Uncle Cracker and
The
shit. Like she
adult
listened to
stuff.
like
Yeah.
she listened to shit that like I would appreciate alongside her, I guess is kind of how I could describe it. But I never
Little
like
fun stuff
resonated
to
with
sing
any of.
along to and shit
Yeah,
like
I
that.
would. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
like sing along with her because it made her happy and I never resonated with a lot of that. I do. I enjoy some of it. Like obviously it's like okay.
Good to reminisce on nowadays.
Yeah, like it's. I don't know. Like some of those songs were just a little bit. I don't know. It's just one of those things where I just don't really enjoy it, at least nowadays. Back in the day, though, it was like okay for the time because it was just like my mom knew the words, so it was like, oh, dude, like like you're feeling left out because you don't know any of the words. You're like, oh, I'm gonna sing along with my mom. So that was kind of the way that started. And then like my dad would always be playing music in the car. So like when I was like, shit, like we were like cruising around in the car, we would play like Name That Tune. So we would play like you get 2 points for getting the song right and you get 1 point for getting the artist right. And then we would play like, that's when I really learned more about rock music altogether. Because initially I just knew about like 80s hair band shit. So I would listen to like AC/DC, which is like a little bit neither here nor there. Like some people hate AC/DC. Like I don't mind them even
and
today.
people love AC/DC.
Yes, I was gonna say some people fucking love them. Some people really cannot stand them.
Right.
I'm like a little bit more towards the middle. Like I still like them, but it's mostly because of nostalgia.
I like certain songs.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's very nostalgic for me too, because that's like one of my first favorite bands, I'd say. Because like obviously it's changed over time, but pretty soon playing Name That Tune was getting me like listening to fucking. I remember listening to Clapton really early. I remember listening to Pink Floyd crazy early. I remember listening to like obviously Led Zeppelin was like crazy rotation. My dad wasn't huge on the Beatles or like that realm, but I like I started putting myself on to everybody else. Once I learned like, okay, there's music like this out here. Like I remember hearing Pink Floyd and being like, holy shit, there's music like this. like, wait, let me see what's going on with this. So then that's when I started trying to like take my own direction.
Hold on. So that goes into my next question, real quick. I don't
you're good,
brother. At what age did you start discovering your own music and saying, this is what I want to hear? Like, because, wait, so you're 25. What 25. Year were you born?
96. Beginning.
96. Like, yeah. Oh, see, damn, bro. You part of the gang, you feel me? You out here rapping, you feel me?
Capricorn 96, baby.
Yeah, Capricorn, you feel me? You cool.
Yeah.
Libra gang out here, it's birthday month.
January 96. I'm like almost 95.
You all about your money, man. Capricorn's about money.
Oh yeah.
And I appreciate it. But growing, like, what age did you start saying, I want to hear my own music? Did you get your iPod or something? I was like, start choosing your own music, or what you want to start listening to.
Here's what.
How did that go? How did the transition go?
Okay, so eventually, like riding around in the car playing Name That Tune, that shit was always on. My dad had like a little iPod, so I'm like, dude, let me get at least like an MP3. So I remember getting my first MP3 for like Christmas, right? And my uncle was always tech savvy, even more than my dad. Like I still talk to my uncle to this day, like my dad's brother. He's like a really, really cool guy. This dude used to be heavy on like the burn DVDs and pass them out to friends, and like the frost wire.
Live wire.
Bro, we'd be on the LimeWire, like he'd be like asking me who I want on my MP3, while like throwing his own suggestions in there and shit. So I was catching like more suggestions from him, and I was like, my dad was always like around during that little process, because obviously like his brother's coming over to help us all illegally download all this music and shit.
Yeah.
And then pretty soon I learned how to do that myself a little bit, but then I ended up getting like an iPod Touch when I got to be in like 8th grade. I think I was
remember
in 8th
those.
Grade. Okay, so I remember this is like when I first got into hip hop music. This is exactly how it went, because I remember originally I was more into poetry and shit. So I just like respected rap music because it reminded me a lot of how poetry works. So up until then, I didn't discover hip hop until I got to about 8th grade. My friend just told me like, yo, I got a bunch of actually, you might know. Do you remember Andrew Barr? Drew Barr?
I hear the name before. If I see
shout out
face,
to
I
Drew
always
Barr,
remember
bro.
it.
Drew
Barr. Yes, I know that name. Drew Barr. Yes,
dude,
yes.
Shout out to that dude, because he told me to come over the one day. He's like, bro, I got a bunch of shit just dumped on my iTunes. Like, I'll put it all on your, whatever.
Gunshots for Drew Barr.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, cool. Bro, I heard Kid Cudi for the first time. And this was in like 2000. It was either 2009 or 10. So it was right when Man on the Moon 1 drops.
Yeah.
And I heard that shit and about shat myself. I'm like, who the fuck is this? What is like? I like heard hip hop music to a degree, but I never heard anything quite like that before. Like, I remember listening to like one of the first hip hop songs I ever heard was a Jay-Z song. And I'm like, damn, this is fucking dope. Like, this is cool. I need to start learning more about this. And then that's when I was like, hip hop, like, you got rap songs on your shit? And he's like, yeah, I got you. I was like, all right, cool. Dump all of it on there. I just want to learn more. And he's like, all right, cool. And this was before like YouTube was going crazy with the music it is now. Like YouTube, like music videos were like around, but they were not going as crazy as they like are today. Like, back then YouTube was just like goofy shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you remember like the really early stages of YouTube. Stuff, it was like Vine type shit on YouTube, like always. So I didn't have like that type of access, and it was like, I'm gonna either illegally download these songs that I really don't even like have a way of knowing if they're good or not. I don't even know anything about the genre yet, so I'm like, yo, just hook me up. And he's like, all right, cool, bro. I listened to all of Man on the Moon 1, and then I remember listening to like the other tapes that just made me in awe. Was fucking not only Kids by Mac Miller. Like, everybody knows like Kids is incredibly dope shit. Like, Kids is a great tape.
That's what Lucky Me reminds me of, Mac Miller.
Bro, that was one of the first. Yeah, I appreciate that, because that was one of the first tapes I heard in full, and I'm like, wow, this dude is real. He's intense. Like, yes, like he's the one. Like, the other one, bro, that nobody really like. I'm sure people know about it, but nobody really talks as much about it. Is The High Life by Mac Miller. It's another tape that came out right alongside. I don't know if it was before or shortly after Kids. I think it was before Kids.
Yeah,
He had both of those tapes come out within like a few years of each other, and both of those were on that. The Kid Cudi shit was on that. There were some T.I. songs and shit. Like, I just started listening to those, and I got like obsessed with those two majorly. Like Mac Miller, Kid Cudi, I became obsessed with both of them, and then from there, I just started literally teaching myself about not only the rap and hip hop music, but then I like eventually started to revert back to go like inspect and explore more music in the like 60s 70s era that I like skipped over initially, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So like by now I'm just like, I like to think I'm pretty well versed in like the old I'd say like the late 60s early 70s into the 90s and up hip hop shit. Like I don't know much about the 2000s shit like as much as I probably should.
Yeah.
But like dude, from I'd say like 91 when RZA drops the Prince Rakeem tape, dude, the Prince Rakeem single, I'm like, okay, from then until like the late 90s, early 2000s with like 50, that's when I don't know as much as right after 50 kind of like doesn't make as much. You know what I mean?
What made you fall in love with music? What made you want to start doing music?
I always thought it was crazy how like music could just make you feel shit. Like obviously you're watching TV, movies, awkward situations in movies can make you feel things that like other things, you know what I mean? Like certain things are easier to make you feel, and like movies and TV were a little bit easier. So like when music came around and people were making me feel shit, now I'm like, how is this dude able to like make me feel this type of emotion? You know, in a song, like all he's doing is rapping over a beat or singing over a beat or you know, whatever it may be. And I'm like, dude, like Kid Cudi's talking, like even on like Soundtrack to My Life, like that was one of the like, again, one of the like early on rap songs I ever heard. And I'm like, bro, I don't even know. Like this dude is like speaking about the life that I'm going through like currently. Like at that time, I was like 14, 15. Like my dad left. We were like, you know, not doing well financially by any means. Like we didn't know if Christmas was coming around, like shit like that. And like, Cudi's literally talking about that exact type of situation. So I'm like, dude, this is what I resonate with. Like I can resonate with this right now.
Cudi spoke to a generation, man. Like,
exactly. And then I get a little bit older, and then I find the psychedelics, and then guess what? You know, resonates with me a little bit more is like that psychedelic rock from the fucking 70s. And I'm like, ooh, this is funky. You know, now they know what I'm talking about now. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things.
Yeah.
But it's for me, it's just like whatever resonates with me, whatever I relate to, whatever I can take with me, you know, break it down and, you know, put it in a backpack. Anything that I can take with me.
So what fuels you to even do music even though you're not being paid for
it? I'd say it's mostly just there's a lot of motivation that comes in me knowing that I'm pretty good lyrically, and then also knowing that like lyrics don't necessarily carry a ton of weight in today's hip hop and rap. Like obviously there are some dudes out here just dropping some beautiful lyrics, like, you know, there's some big names out there that do not, you know, hold back lyrically at all. But like some people, you don't need good lyrics always. You just don't. Like you can have great lyrics, and that's a plus. That's awesome. But sometimes, bro, you can say whatever the fuck you want to say, and that's, you know, all right too. And like I still love those songs as well. Like certain people will be, you know, out here like rapping. I'm you know, they're not saying a ton, but it sounds beautiful. Like it sounds amazing. So it's one of those things.
The
where you're
beat
like,
and instrumental,
everything works together, dude. Vocals don't always have to be lyrical. They could just, as long as they add something to the song, I am all for it always. So like for me, it was kind of like, damn, I'm pretty, like, I feel like I'm good lyrically, but I kind of want to go prove it. Like, I want to go, like, show people how good I can be as far as, like, the lyrics go, you know, the lyrics go of the song, or, like, little things like that, because I think I can go, you know, toe-to-toe with some, you know, pretty good lyricists out here, but it's one of those things where...
Speak your shit.
If nobody hears you, bro, then it doesn't matter. And that's the biggest thing, is like just getting ears to the music is almost bigger than like the product that you're putting out. And that's just the sad reality of it sometimes. It's like, what I
Sometimes
need
it's
to
just a
do
beat
is make
and
sure
a
the
dance.
product is set. You know, like if you got a good, you know, song, okay, that's amazing. I'm really glad you have a great song. But if nobody hears that, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean?
True.
So it's just one of those things where, like, I don't know. I think that's mostly the motivation is like, hey, I'm not making money on it right now, but I know that I'm like talented lyrically. I know that like I have a voice and a flow that like makes sense and goes well together. And like at the same time, will people hear it? That's the biggest question. Is like the motivation is definitely to just show people how like lyrics can really make a difference. And in today's rap, like I bring a little bit of like a throwback to it, where like flow a little bit throwback, but like the way the lyrics are like important and kind of like driving the song, like telling a story type of shit. Like there aren't as many storytellers around anymore. That's just a sad reality. There's not as many. They're just
dropping beats. They're just dropping beats and getting a TikTok dance. That's what it is about.
Yeah, and that's okay.
What the music industry came through, but like there's still a section for all different type of music, because I don't really listen to TikTok music like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That catchy stuff, you know, that radio pop stuff.
I can hear it and enjoy it and appreciate it, but I never go out of my way to put it on, I guess is the way I'll say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's one of those things. Like,
it's very true. Very true about that.
And like, trust me, dude, I love making music that can be like, you know, pleasurable to the ear to hear it. Yeah. But at the same time,
catchy
like,
shit.
And like that's what's cool is like if you get.
But you make what you love.
Right, and
you make what you want to make.
Exactly,
and that's the freedom you should always keep. So in 5 years, if someone comes, what kind of music deal would you be looking for right now? From if someone comes to you, a company or industry, what kind of deal would you be looking for?
Like you're saying, like a deal in general as far as music goes?
Yeah.
So like I have told myself on a number of occasions that I just would try not to sign a deal, but at the same time, if that was like, you know, a ticket out and like a good way to like go start some shit, I would sign a deal that was mostly revolving around nothing creatively being, you know, like I don't know, like nothing can be spared on my creative end. Like nothing they can say or do can take away what I'm planning, I guess is like the biggest thing for me. So like if I'm, you know, like for instance, I have like a 4-song EP that I'm like pretty much done writing to. All I gotta do is record it really quick and then I'll start like, you know, doing the marketing stuff for it. But if I like finish that thing, I record it and I mix it and I show it to somebody, bro, and then they hear it and they're like, yo, this song can't be on there, that song can't be on there, this one needs to be, you know, this has to be done to this song. Like,
oh, that's fuckery.
That's the stuff that I do not want to hear about. I don't want to hear about any of that shit. You guys just push it. You guys market it. You guys do this. You do that. That's awesome. Go for it. I would love that. But just
so you're pretty much looking for a distribution deal.
Yeah, exactly. Just more like a distribution marketing type deal. Like you know, nothing creative. Like I want all hands off creatively. Like let me do all of that work. I'll pick out the beats.
And you just push the body of work out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yo, Lando Strand, bro. It's been an honor, brother. And hopefully part 2 will be in person sooner than later. You feel me?
That's the plan.
And we're gonna have all the links in the description. Lucky Me is Song of the Week, so definitely go check that out.
All right, I just gotta ask one more question though.
Go ahead, brother.
So can you just tell the people what you're sipping on tonight?
Oh shit, Maker's Mark.
I had to throw in the Boston accent. Classy gentleman drinking Maker's.
I gotta throw in the Boston accent. Maker's Mark.
I like that. The Maker's Mac.
The Mrs.
Going out to my car to drink some Maker's.
Going down to the harbor. Grab my key. Yes, sir. Yes. So that's what it is. Warming up. It's cold over here in Nantucket, Mass. So you had to drink something warm. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm hoping that you just somehow, some way, develop a little bit of a Boston accent before you come back. Before I see you.
I'm just trying. No, I don't want a full Boston accent. I just want little words. Just little words. I like little words where I just say little subtleties and no one be like, where the fuck you from? You Jamaican or American or you Bostonian? Who the fuck is you? You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
That's not the full accent.
Yeah, no, dude, that full accent would be a lot to hear all the time.
Yeah. But yo, that was a good question. You know, everyone sip safe, be
Sip
great.
safe, don't drive while doing it.
You feel me? And it's been an honor, bro. I appreciate you coming on once again and sharing your story and why you like music and more. But we're gonna get more into it again into the music segment for part 2.
Hell
and
yeah!
Once, as I said earlier, I hope we can do this in person next time.
Absolutely, I'm ready to dive a little deeper. Absolutely.
Fact. So this is right in the middle where we talk about nothing, something, and everything. And this was an Into the Music segment. This is also No More Podcast in Your Hearts. Open it up, share it, tell a friend, and we're here. Make sure y'all have a good night, good day, be safe, and we'll see you until next time.
And go smoke some.
You feel me?
Just another day TV.
Crazy world. So how you keep that positive energy? Right in the middle. Welcome to Right in the Middle, where we talk about nothing, something, and everything. We are here, people. What up? No more podcasts in your heart.